Back to the Culture Call on Praise 93.3 with L. Spencer Smith. Our desire is to reach and empower the community by discussing a cross-section of relevant topics from various perspectives that are essential to its growth and interpersonal connections. Be sure to save our call-in number, 205-752-4800. Be sure to install the free Praise 93.3 app so you can send L. Spencer Smith a message or topic idea. Search for WTSK in your app store.
This is the world premiere.
Great morning, great morning, great morning, precious people. You know what time it is. That's right. Welcome to the Culture Call. You know what it is, the place where Tuscaloosa meets the world. And guess what? For the next 2 hours, we're going to be right here. That's right, right here from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. talking a little bit about everything. You know how we do it. That's right, from society to sports, education to economics, and most definitely from religion to relationships. And of course, as we always say, we are here to create a safe space to have empowering, provocative, and sometimes controversial conversations. And guess what? You can call in or you can chat it up with me as we learn together right here on the Culture Call. That's right. Listen, if you're a first-time listener with us, welcome. That's right. Welcome. Today is an amazing day to have you join us and be on board of the Culture Call. We talk about a plethora of subjects, and I promise you, if you keep it right here, it's going to blow your mind. It's going to cause you to think and rethink and all kinds of things that we do here. But listen, maybe you're not in a spot where you can just kind of listen to your radio and chill out. Maybe you're at work at your cubicle or you're moving on the go. Guess what you can do? You can download our app on your smartphone. So here's what you do when you get a chance. Now, if you're driving, don't do this. But when you get to a place where you can download, go to your smart device and search out Praise 93.3 FM. Our free 99 app. Let me say that for the folks in the back. The free 99 app. Go ahead, download that on your phone, and guess what? You can hear me all around the world. That's right. You can definitely hear me on your job or whatever you're doing. You're moving, you're driving, you're on vacation, whatever. Hey, guess what? You don't want to miss the Culture Calls. That's right. So that app helps you do that. And of course, you can send me a message on the app. Yeah, right here on the Culture Call. I'll read it on the air and let me know what you're thinking about what we're talking about today. And also, we want to make sure that you don't miss anything and that we don't miss anything. So do me another favor, right? Here it is. Send your public service announcements or your events to culturecall.praise@gmail.com. That's culturecall.praise@gmail.com. And give me an opportunity. That's right. Your personal marketing PR person every morning and so I can tell everybody what's happening in your neck of the woods, in your church, your organization, sorority, fraternity, your choir. Yeah, maybe you got a concert coming up. Listen, my job is to make sure that people bring some traffic to that place, right? You want to see faces in the spaces and the places, right? So, yeah, let me read it and let me tell everybody, come on out. Yeah, because some great things are happening in our community. All right. Good deal. You know why I do that? Because always we do it better when we do it together. And of course, listen, save this number, 205-752-4800. That's 205-752-4800. And you can call into the show. And don't forget, once you download that app as well, you can hit me up on the app, just in case if you're not in a place where you can call me. I want to hear from you. Listening to you and hearing and conversing with you is such a blessing. And so I don't want to miss the opportunity to hear your voice or to share your thoughts on the air. Do me a favor, sit back and relax. Grab you some coffee. You know how we do it, Maxwell House, or some Starbucks. That's right. Get you some herbal tea, chamomile if you're trying to settle down, or a little caffeine kick from some green tea, or you can get some alkaline water and get down to that cellular level, get detox. Yeah, maybe you're trying to lose weight and, you got to go through a detox first. Get you some alkaline water and get hydrated. Yeah, so we can get into the culture. Listen, so much is going on. I guess they say he said that every day. And I mean it every day, that there is so much going on. But before we start this day off, we want to commemorate September 11th on the air right here on the Culture Call. It is a very memorable day in the life of our country and all around the world. The lives that were lost in New York and Pennsylvania and in Washington, D.C., as we experienced a horrific terrorist attack, and that the whole world thought that our country was going to crumble. And because of our resilience and because of our strength and vigor, we bounced back. But we always want to remember the sacrifices of those lives lost. And that September 11th changed everything about our country in terms of security, in terms of, the way that information is processed. All kinds of things are a result of September 11th. And many people had an issue with sometimes you have to compromise certain levels of freedom. And when I say freedom, not that anybody put anybody in chains, but now we've got to take off our shoes when we get on the airplane, and we got to go through so many different kinds of things in order, just to maintain security. And I don't mind that, because I always want to know that when I get on a plane, train, or even in the automobile, that I am safe. That's right. If I'm in a public building, I want to know that I'm safe. If I'm in a governmental building having to transact any kind of business, I want to know I am safe. And so part of being a part of the United States, to being a part of this community of humanity in our country, we have to find different ways now to move around what was important since September 11th. And, we should all be used to it by now. If you don't travel by plane or train, then, okay, you may be shocked if you go to the airport. I remember we could go all the way up to the gate, to wait for people when they came out. Now you cannot do that at all. Now I'm talking about not at all. You could see the plane land and all that. No, you can't do that now. You used to be able to park your car in front of the airport and just kind of wait, and nope. Cannot do that now. Yeah. So freedom costs, and we have, all of us have a price to pay to maintain that freedom. And so today we commemorate all of those lives, over 3,000 lives lost on that horrific day. Do you remember where you were? Yeah, I was sitting in my office at church looking at TV, and just, we kept seeing all of this stuff going on. I was like, what in the world is going on? The entire office just stopped, and just, wow, we just couldn't believe it. It almost played out like a dream, and even a nightmare, if you want to say it like that. But yeah, we began to see, the planes and all those different kinds of things. So I definitely remember going down in prayer, and the staff going in prayer and making sure that, Lord, we don't know what's going on, but protect us, protect our church, protect our families, both here in Tuscaloosa and all around the country. Yeah. We wanted to make sure that we were properly covered. So it was a definite day to remember. And I think we ought to have days like that we remind ourselves exactly, how far we have been brought, how far the Lord has brought us, how far God has kept us. And, and remember those. I'm serious. Remember all of those who were not as fortunate. Yeah. That September 11th had some long-lasting catastrophic effects on people's lives, right? In their physical life, their mental life, PTSD, and all those kinds of things. So even as we remember this day as a day of resilience and restoration in our country, let us also remember those families who are still, years later, reeling and rocking from the loss of life in such an egregious, wicked kind of way. Let us continue to pray for them and make sure that the comfort and the peace of the Lord be partnered with them in their goings and their comings every day of their life. Can we do that culture call? I know we can. I know we can. Listen, this week I want to start off with a new topic, and I've got a special guest today that's going to come up in the next half. But we're talking about getting community activated. As you know, a part of the assignment and purpose of Culture Call, and we say this almost every day, is to make sure that our community is not late, last, and lost, that we begin to build our community from strong people to strong individual people to strong families, and that build strong neighborhoods, that build strong communities, that build strong cities, that eventually build a strong state, and of course, a strong country. And so I believe that there ought to be a prime focus on the community level. And I have been afforded this opportunity, and I'm going to use it for that particular platform to always strengthen our community, to bring us to a place of awareness and sometimes to a place of challenge and put some pressure on us to do the best that we can do, right? That we have to have a winning mentality, a mentality of revitalization, a mentality sometimes of even revolution as we move forward as the Black community. And because this is a place a hub where we meet, and I believe that each and every one of you who are listening are very important, then we always want to make sure that we stir the pot in making sure that we understand what it means to be community activated. You know, as a pastor and a leader, that is an assignment that I don't take lightly in my daily life, right? I don't take it lightly because I have the power to at least on 2 days shape the minds and the momentum of the community, right, in what I do. And you've got to begin to see your part in shaping the mind in the community. Now, listen, although I know about politics and I'm very aware on a lot of subjects, I'm not a politician. That's not the life for me. I'm not getting out there running for mayor or running for governor or whatever it is to run for. A dog catcher, I'm not even running for, right? But I think it is very, very important that we begin to find our place in community and work in those places to do our very best. You know, sometimes we believe that, you know, one or a couple of people should be the primary representatives for all of us, while we sometimes sit back and relax and criticize what they are and are not doing. But I believe that community activism is something that should be partnered with all of us, that all of us should take a very central place in making sure that our communities have what they need, and that our communities are aware of what's happening in our city, that it's aware of what's happening in education and in health, in economics, in business, all of those things. I think that those of us who are in positions of power, authority, influence, those of us who sit at tables, those who are part of various organizations, sororities, fraternities, I believe that we all have a part of coming together and making certain that our community does its best. You know, one of the things that the Bible teaches us is that we ought to look on the things of others, not just on the things of ourselves. In other words, that the church in the book of Acts was formulated out of the understanding of building a community, from a house to a community. That's right. Let me put the perspective right. From a promise to a house to a community. Right. And so what happened in that house, the upper room is what we call it. What happened there spread to the community, and the community began to grow, right? Called it the ecclesia, those who are called out of one culture, one understanding, and into another place, right? We call it out of darkness into the marvelous light. And so it is in this transaction of community that life becomes very important for us. That life, they begin to, feed each other. They begin to make sure that there was a monetary system so that everyone could be supported. They made sure that no one was left out, of the daily ministration. We find that in Acts chapter number 6, that was the creation of the office of deacon, so that they could wait on the tables, that they could serve the community from that aspect, right? So that the spiritual leadership could continue to to hear the word and give it to the people, right? So we understand on a Sunday morning what community is. It's called koinonia, fellowship. When we come out of our houses and we meet at a certain place, whether that's Mount Zion, whether that's Pentecostal temple, whatever that is, we come out of our spaces and our own domiciles and we come to a church. We come to a place where we indeed have community. Look at how the service starts off. The service starts off with a devotion time where we all come in and bring our minds in. Right? Why are you going this direction? Then we start singing together. And then, in our culture and our experience, we hear the word together and we respond together. And, the preacher might say, don't leave without the benediction. We all want to leave together because that sense of togetherness gives us a clear sense of purpose. And I think that's very important. That gives us a clear sense of connection that although they may not be our biological family, in a lot of cases it is, but in some cases it may not be, we find the ability to, whenever we get together, to find fellowship. Yeah, that could be at the PTA meeting. That could be at a football game. That could be at a concert. Yeah, that when we come together, it's important that we find the relationships that will cause us to move forward. The relationships that, first of all, that we can connect to. The relationships that we can find, watch this, common unity with community, right? And so every day when you get up, you go to work. When you go to work, what makes that workplace tolerable for the hours that you have to stay there is that you don't just work by yourself and just go home. That's kind of weird. And if you do that, we need to talk, right? But you make friends. You try to build a community because in that workspace community, we find ways to make it better, right? It's the same everywhere you go. Community is important. One of the African adages that we love to use, and that is that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village. It takes a village. It takes a village. What does that even mean? That the village had a common center. It had a common center where everyone would come out of their huts or they would come out of their homes and they would meet in the center of that city, right? And they would build relationships and they would make pacts and they would make sure that, yes, no one is left behind, that each and every person is accounted for, that each and every person is present. Each and every person's concerns are heard. They would handle the business in the center of that village, right? That they would make sure that their children knew each other and that they knew each other's children because it was the community's responsibility to protect each other. Right? To not allow any enemy to come in to destroy the family or to rob the family or to strip them of anything that was necessary for their lives. And so, Culture Call, I really want to encourage us to consider and maybe reconsider the whole village aspect, right? We say it takes a village, but are you a part of that village? Are we really a part of that village? Yeah. Do we know what's going on in our community? Do we know our children? Are we providing services? Are we providing a helping hand? Yeah. Do we worship together? Yeah. Do we experience each other's vicissitudes, highs and lows? Do we sense each other's pain when we're going through? And do we celebrate each other's joy when we're excited? Do we come together as a place that can give us forward motion, encouragement when we need it? Yeah, I think that's what a village is, that we come together and we find out what is the best for our particular community. We are activated, right? If there is something going on at the church, if there's some kind of violence going on at the game, are we coming together as a village to work it out, to protect, to make sure outside forces don't come in and disrupt what we've come to enjoy, to see our children, perform on the field, whether it's band or athletics, that we provide a safe space as community. I think that's very important because when we get to the brass tacks of everything, that community is the strength and the foundation of where we launch, right? No man is an island. No man is self-made. No, we help support each other in community. We heard you sing when you were cracking, when your voice was cracking. when your voice was changing, you're right, we gave you an opportunity to sing in church. And what did we do in the community? Oh, that's all right. That's all right. When you were nervous and forgot the words, oh, help them, Lord. We prayed you through that song. Yeah, right. As a community, we were there to celebrate your weddings. Yeah, we were there to help you mourn in funerals. Community. Yeah. We picked each other's children up in carpool from school. Yeah, because we are a part of that community. We came to the community meetings to find out what was happening and to find out what changes they were trying to make. Yeah, we called people to the carpet as community. And say, I'm reemphasizing that word community because I'm trying to drill something in this week. That as we bring those on who are doing great things in the community, whether it be in education, whether it be in healthcare, whether it be in economics, this week we need to talk about how can we become community activated, right? That we don't just talk about what's bad, because we can get a group of people, a bunch of folks, to talk about what's bad. But can we get you out to talk about the organization and the structuring of a community? Can we talk about what's good? Can we talk about what needs to be changed in our community as a family, right? Strong community is not resting upon the backs of 3 or 4 people. No. Every house, every family, every person has a responsibility to make sure that they are connected. That's right. That means you are ready to actively participate, engage in the affairs and well-being of your community. So, yeah, you may not like your neighbor 2 doors down, but you at least ought to know your neighbor. See, that's different, right? Right. You ought to know your neighbor's children. Yeah, you ought to know them up and down the street, around the corner. You ought to know who those people are. Because you never know when you may have to one day call on them. You may never know who's watchful eye. They're nosy today until their nosiness catches a thief trying to break in your house. Yeah, that part. Yeah, I want you to think about that. Oh, she's so nosy. He always in my business until you go on vacation. And because of their nosiness, they were the one that saw something strange and called law enforcement. And now you get to keep all your stuff. Because of their nosiness. See, nosy today becomes useful tomorrow. But that person's a part of the community. Yeah. One of the shows that I love, and I love sitcoms, was 227. And I love that community. It was just a spice of life. But you had Pearl there. Pearl was the old sage woman that would always sit out on her stoop, looking out of the window. You had Mary, which was Marla Gibbs, and you had Sandra, and oh my goodness, I can't remember Mary's friend off the top of my head. But anyway, you had Pearl. You had all of those who had built a community right there in 227 in that apartment in D.C. And guess what? They looked out for each other. Now they knew my girl Sandra, yeah, they knew she was a little snazzy. They knew it, yeah. And they had something with her, but she was a part of the community. Why you say that and use 227? Because each and every person played a role in the strengthening of that community. They didn't leave each other hanging. They didn't leave each other out. They didn't leave each other aside. That they understood that, hey, if we don't stick together, if we don't come together as a community, if we're not activated about what happens in the life of our children, Brenda and Calvin, and there was a couple of more that came along later. Yeah, a community. Good times, community. Yeah, even the Jeffersons, a community. Absolutely, a community. And here's what I'm saying. I'm using particular idioms, entertainment ideas, so you can see the power of what it means to be a part of an activated community. Getting things done. Wanda couldn't pay her rent. They formulated a rent party. Right. So that she wouldn't get kicked out of her part. That's what it means to be a part of community. And I think part of what we have lost, especially in the black community, is the sense of community. And I'm not talking about community because that's just simply the side of town you live on the side, west side, east side, north side, south side. I'm talking about building something that will cause you to understand that, hey, I'm a part of something greater. And I've got to be a part. I've got to take my role in it. I've got to take initiative. I've got to collaborate with others. And I have to bring my part to the table to work towards the betterment of the community as a whole. Absolutely. You know, one of the fascinating things when I was growing up was listening to my mom and my grandparents, my dad, them talk about people in the community. That was just because, I'm like, who do y'all don't know? Who do you not know? And that was kind of one of the prerequisites of how they sized your friends up. They wanted to know who was their family. They wanted to know what were they known for in the community, what was a part of the community. Oh, you talking about they live on Strawberry Hill, and they had names. Culture Call, they had names. Oh, they lived in Bono. Oh, okay. They from up 17. I mean, they knew everybody. I'm like, really? How does that? And that comes from years of community activism. That comes from years of being a part of what is necessary to understand that if we do not stay connected, if we do not become active in what is going on in our community, then guess what? We're going to be late, last, and lost. And that is what will not happen on my watch. That's why I do what I do every day. That's right, every day. To bring awareness that we have to stick together. We have to stick together. And that's what I want to remind you of this entire week, that we do it better when we do it together. Listen, I thank Pop Watts. He said that years ago, and we're still saying it now because it is still true. We do it better when we do it together. I want you to think about in these next couple of days, how active can I be in the community? That's what I want you to do. Listen, today I've got a special guest. He's going to come on. He's the Tuscaloosa City School Superintendent. That's right, Dr. Mike Daria. He's going to be on in our next segment. Listen, I need you to keep it right here. Promise you, it's going to be an exciting day right here on the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on Praise 93.3 FM. Keep it locked. Don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back right here on the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3 FM. Listen, this entire week, we're going to have a blast. That's right. As we talk about community activation. That's right. Are you community active? Yeah. We're going to talk about it all week. And this week, we're going to be bringing in some amazing people from our city to be able to have a conversation with us and what we can do and how we can position ourselves to be better community activists. I don't think community activism is simply protest, but I think that community activism is being present and a part of all of the components that make our community stronger. And if we are late, last, and or lost in that, then there's something definitely going to be, it's going to drag our communities backward. That's right. It's going to cause us to not understand our vital roles that we play in making our communities the better places and the best places that our children can grow up in. Yeah. So that's that. Yeah. But today I am favored and, to feature an amazing man in our city. That's right. That's Dr. Mike Daria, Tuscaloosa City School Superintendent. Dr. Daria is a veteran educator who has served in the Tuscaloosa City Schools all but 1 year in the system, his first starting in 1996. He's worked as the TCS English teacher, assistant principal, executive director of personnel, and assistant superintendent prior to his current role. And of course, the hallmark hallmark of his administration has been his commitment to engaging all stakeholders on the path of progress for the students. That's right. That's what students. What does that mean? No, students, right? Right here in Tuscaloosa City. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the Culture Call. I want to welcome Dr. Mike Daria on the line for our interview. How are you, Dr. Daria?
I'm doing well. Good morning, and thanks for having us today.
Man, I so appreciate you, sir, for being on the Culture Call this morning, and it is my honor to have you on. Out of all of the many things I know you have to do in our city, I'm just grateful that you could carve out some time to kind of talk to us and encourage us in the area of education. Definitely. So let's get right to it. Listen, so you have this amazing thing coming up called the community input sessions. Can you just give us an understanding of what that is?
Yes, sir. Well, taking off what you just said earlier, couldn't be more correct. We believe strong schools mean strong communities. Yeah. And when our community is active in our schools, it grows our schools, and we get better and better. And we want to be in the Tuscaloosa City Schools a system of excellence for our community, because we know when our schools are thriving, it impacts our community.
Absolutely.
And to the point, this week, on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday of this week, we've got input sessions where we want our community to come in and give us input on our priorities and our budget priorities connected to our vision for this school system for the future. The voice of our public matters, and that includes our parents, but that also includes business owners and community members who may not have kids in the schools. We believe that these schools belong to this community, and we want to make sure that we have budget priorities for the things that matter to this community. So we start that tonight at Central High School at 6 o'clock, and then again Wednesday at Northridge High School at 6, and then Thursday at Bryan High School at 6. And we would love to have any of our community members come and share their perspective on their priorities for education in our community.
Wow, that is amazing. I think that it's so important that you hear from the voice of the community as it relates to something central like education, the school systems. And I hear that you're also giving them voicing in the budget priority system in terms of what needs to be, given to the schools and what activities and programs are very important. So tell me this, how do you think these sessions will improve community relationships with regards to better outcomes for the students? How do you believe that that's going to happen?
Well, I mean, in its simplest form, our schools belong to this community. So we need the voice of the community members in our schools. We need the voice of our community in the future direction of our schools. Specifically, these sessions are looking at our budget priorities. The same way we have to look at our priorities at home in our budget, we have to do the same as a school system. And quite honestly, like many things out there, the cost of doing business in education is also going up. So we have to look at our priorities and make sure that we can fund the things that we care about, not only for today, but around the corner and down the road. And let me be clear. Right now, we are financially good. We're about to approve a budget tomorrow night that is sound. We've got a good reserve. But this is our Board of Education and our school system looking to the vision and the future of this school to make sure our school system can continue to make the progress for all students as we go into the future. Look, I've got my ideas of what are important to be in the budget, in the future budget. I think we need to attract and retain the best teachers, the best bus drivers, the best meal service providers for our students. I think we need more STEM. I think we need to continue with arts and music and enhance it even more. But those are my thoughts, right? I feel like they reflect those of the community, but we want to hear directly from our parents, our community members, what's important to you? So these sessions are going to ask essentially two questions. One, what is it we're doing well right now that you want to see us continue to fund?
Right.
Two, what is it you want to see us enhance and improve that requires additional funding? This is a discussion about funding, and do we have the right funding for the elevated and high expectations for education in the city of Tuscaloosa?
Wow, I think that's important. That is so important. Listen, Culture Call, I need you to hear Dr. Daria. He's giving us an opportunity to sit at the table, right? That he already says that he has this vision and this format of what might be best for our community schools, and he's been doing an amazing job, but now he's inviting our voices to the table. Dr. Daria, what do you believe has been, is this something new that you've done or that you're doing, or has it been done in the past? And if it hasn't, what has been the difficulty that you perceive, in terms of community participation when you're calling us to the table? Do we show up? I mean, that's the clear question. Have we shown up before, and what do you anticipate to be different now?
Yeah, look, this community cares about education.
Yeah.
We have 11,000 students, and we believe we need to have excellence for all 11,000 students. Do I think there's room for improvement as a school system? Yes. Do I think there's room for improvement for community participation in our schools? Yes. But look, this is a community that cares about education. It cares about its young people. What we need is to make sure we get our community at this table, because that voice matters, that perspective matters. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. And we want to, as a school system, keep opening that door so that individuals can come to that table and voice their perspective on our school system, and quite frankly, how we can get better and continue to work to become a premier school system for all students.
Wow, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. Well, Dr. Daria, I simply congratulate you on the work that you're already doing, and I'm hoping that we as a community will come out in all three sessions. Could you give us those three again, please?
Yes, sir. I first want to say thank you for helping us get this word out.
Absolutely.
Monday night, tonight at 6 o'clock, Central High School. Wednesday, the 13th, at Northridge High School, also 6 o'clock. And then lastly, Thursday at Bryan High School, also at 6 o'clock. We can't thank you enough for helping us get this word out. And if you're a listener here, please come talk with us and give us your input, your perspective, so that we can continue the progress of the Tuscaloosa City Schools.
Absolutely. We will encourage them to do so tonight, September 11th. From 6 to 7:30 at Central High School. Make sure that you come out to the community input session with Dr. Mike Daria and his team to make sure that we can provide better outcomes for all of our students in all of Tuscaloosa. Thank you, Dr. Daria, for taking out the time to coming on the Culture Call and letting us know what's happening in your world and in our world concerning our school system. I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Listen, Culture Call, I am telling you, you need to be a part of that. We complain about what's going on in our school systems, but here it is. The superintendent just told you tonight at Central High. That's right. Tonight at Central High from 6 to 7:30 p.m. They're going to have community input sessions. And then on Wednesday night, the same time, I believe that's at Northridge. And then on Thursday, the same time, I believe at Paul W. Bryant High School. Those high schools particularly impact our community. We need to show up. That's right. We don't need to complain on the back end. We don't need to complain and say, well, nobody asked us. Well, here it is. You got it from the head man's mouth, the superintendent. Come out and let your voices be heard so that you will be able to be a part to say that we did something for our children to make it better. I believe that when we look at the rate of education in where Alabama ranks in this country, they're in the lowest percentile with regards to outcomes, right? Because we understand they don't measure necessarily. You have to go through a deeper breakdown to kind of see where they measure through county and cities and all those kinds of things, right? And so we can do our part for our state to make those outcomes and become into a higher percentile. We can do that, but we have now to show up and to open up our mouths and to lend our concerns. Yeah. How we will educate our children in the future and in the now. So yes, thank you, Dr. Daria. Thank you, Tuscaloosa City Schools. They are improving. Keep your eye out, because guess what? Yeah. They are definitely getting better. It takes strong leadership to do that, and a team and teamwork. And so we really appreciate that, definitely, from Dr. Daria. Listen, so as we talk about this whole idea of community activism, see, here it is, is that we've got to know when to plug in. Yes. So here's what I want you, wherever you are, I need you to say, plug in. I need to plug in. That's right. I need to plug in, because if you sit on the sidelines, one of the things that we can no longer do, that we're waiting for a rescuer, we're waiting for a Superman, we're waiting for another Martin Luther King, we're waiting for all of these other people to come lift us up, when we literally, as a community, can do it together. We can do it ourselves. Not to say that leaders will not appear, but leaders are only a part of the total wheelhouse of community progress. We don't need to just lay it on. Yes, we will have spokesmen who might have better access and better platforms. I'm just one community leader. And so all that needs to be happening in our city is not going to be facilitated through the Culture Call and L. Spencer Smith. That's unrealistic. Not when you may have a different position in the game than I do. Absolutely. See, relying on one person or just a few people to control the narrative, to get the messaging out, listen, first of all, we don't even have that kind of time. Number two, we don't even have that kind of vetting process to make sure that the people who are up there have the particular skills and know how to be able to, speak for all of us, because we're not a monolith. Black folks are not all the same. We are definite. Some of us come from one side, another come from another side. Those two different sides right there are in different dynamics. And yet we are all a part of the community. And so we together, that's right, together, individually, collectively, coming together must become the voice and the visionaries for our community. I think that's the way it is supposed to be. Don't you? I do. Absolutely. And so while we're sitting back nestling, hey, I don't have time to come. No, you have to find time to come. You have to find time to make sure that you're there. You have to find time to make sure that your face is in the place. You have to find time to do that. Yeah. This week, you have to make sure that you open up your mouth and say, hey, here's what I believe our children need in our schools. We need to talk about school security. We need to talk about better testing outcomes. We need to talk about STEM programs. We need to talk about the arts in the schools and why funding is being cut. And how can we add more funding? Well, will simply band boosters do it? We need to figure all of that out because our children's futures are on the line. And so somebody said, well, Reverend, why you want to talk about that? Well, because it needs to be talked about on the front side. On the front side, they're preparing the budget for the next school year. And you heard him say they have monies, they have funding, they're doing better. You heard him say that. He said that, right? But now the question is, how do we allocate said funding to address the needs in our community, to address the educational needs and the resource needs of the schools that we go to? Yay Central, yay Bryant, yay Northridge, yay all. Yeah, we can shout them out at the football game all we want to. But at the end of the day, what matters is what's happening in the classroom. At the end of the day, the facilities that they have for athletics and for music matter. We need to make sure that our voices are heard. That's right. We need to make sure that we say, okay, here is our idea. We've heard your idea. And although that is a good idea, have you considered this aspect? From those of us who live here, from the houses that surround Central, surround Bryant, surround Northridge. That's what we need to be doing. Not in a warlike sort, or not in an antagonistic aspect, but in a serious mode and measure of, hey, we've got children here at our school, and guess what? We want them to do their very best. And the only way they can do their very best is if we make sure that we think about certain things. Knowing that, hear me now, because I think Dr. Darius said it well, knowing that education is more expensive than it was in the 70s, the 80s, and the 60s, and the 50s. So that means then it's not as simple as it was back then. That means the whole technology cost, yes. Science cost, that whole STEM measure cost, yeah. Entire industries are fueled by that funding. And guess what? You can't spend money twice. So you got to make the wise decisions on where to spend it at the beginning. Absolutely. That's what we got to do. And not just for the high schools, but for the middle schools and for the elementary schools. We've got to make sure that we have our voices heard and do our best to make sure that our children have at very least, the things that will cause them to achieve at A grade level. Absolutely. That the winning mentality and the champion mentality is enculturated into our school system. That we don't accept failure as the norm. That ought to be the outlier. If one of our children do not pass, one of our children they don't achieve, when we're not seeing particular outcomes coming from our children, that is unacceptable. And we need to make sure that every teacher, hear me, as a former teacher, you and I need to make sure that every teacher has that same game plan, has that champion winning game plan. Absolutely. Every child in my class is going to get an A. That's right. You got to lose it. That's right. Everybody comes in with an A, and now you got to work to keep it there. That's right. And your final grade will be the reflection of how hard you worked to keep your grade. Absolutely. But you got to show up to the meeting and let your voice be heard. I think it's important. Listen, this is the Culture Call right here with L. Spencer Smith on Praise 93.3 FM. Give me a call, 205-752-4800, or hit me up on the app. Let me know how we're doing and how you're enjoying the conversation. Until then, watch this. I need you to go ahead and get hydrated again. Rehydrated. That's it. Get you some bacon, some eggs, or whatever you're going to eat, and come right here. Keep it here on the Culture Call. Don't miss it.
World premiere.
And we are back right here on the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith. That's right here on Praise 93.3 FM. It's the top of the hour. That's right, 11 a.m. and some change. That's right. And we are having an amazing day. I'm telling you, it's an amazing day as we talk about being community activated. Community activated is so very important that you stay at the prime and at the prime insight and the prime activity in your community. That's how we make sure that we get to the places of strength and empowerment and forward motion of all of us around us. You know, let me just start right here before I go into our current events. Let me just say this, that community was never supposed to be lived as an individual effort or just a few families coming together. Community is something that grows. So that we have to be open to the expansion of our communities, because that expansion is a thing that breeds activism and activation. That if we are just concerned about a few people and we're not concerned about all the people, then we're missing out on a tremendous, one of God's most tremendous resources for us, and that's human resource, relationships. And so we definitely don't want to miss that. And I want us to keep that in mind as we hear all of the great things that are happening in our city in terms of that we can go and support and, make sure that we are a part of. I want you to keep that in the forefront of your mind, that when I show up, I make things better. When we come together, my job, my assignment is to make sure that I make things better in my community. Having said that, listen, this weekend is going to be great at the Northridge High School, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. What's going on? Glad that you asked. It's going to be Walking with the Warriors with the West Alabama Sickle Cell Association. That's right. We're going to be out there walking with the Warriors. We're going to make sure that we begin to raise money, raise funding and awareness for those who are suffering or dealing with or championing through, let me say that, winning through sickle cell anemia. And it is a very interesting disease. It is that affects our community mainly, and those who have melanated skin. It can be had by any ethnicity, but it normally suffers from the African perspective, from the Hispanic perspective, those who normally suffer with that. That's how I want to say that. Yeah, if they normally suffer with that, those who have melanin in their skin, and we still don't know why it happens that way, but we do know that those who suffer with that, they can go through tremendous pain crisis and even to the point of challenging their mortality. So yes, we need to be out there. That's right. We need to be out there this Saturday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Northridge High School. That's right. We need to be there. And yeah, just simply walk. Come, bring a donation. $5, $10, $1,000. That's right. Let's bring some funding out there so that they can do the work for those who are afflicted with that disease. I call them all winners. I call them all warriors. I call them all champions. And I have lived with that with two of my children. I've seen many of my some of my church members suffer through that and still be victorious. But yes, the suffering is still there. We need to have funding to find out a cure. That's what we need. Yeah. We need to find funding to develop a sustainable cure so that everyone can have access. Now, there are some radical cures, but the price on that, the price tags on that cure is exorbitant. I mean, high, right? So we want to create enough funding to make sure that once they find a cure that can be acculturated, that will not cause people to be, go into debt, and make that kind of choice or have to make that kind of choice, whether they live in pain or whether they live pain-free. Yeah, each and every dime will go to researching how that can happen. So please, ma'am, please, sir, hear me out again. This Saturday, we're going to be walking with the Warriors at Northridge High School. It's a benefit for the Sickle Cell Association of West Alabama. You don't want to miss that. You want to be a part of that. Listen, on the entertainment side, we've got a night in Paris. That's right. September 30th. That's right. Sponsored by High Expectations, Rodney High Supermodel. That's right. The tickets are on sale. You can go to Eventbrite to get them. We're going to have a few giveaways at the end of the week, so you don't want to miss it. I'm trying to twist his arm to tell him, if y'all know Rodney, tell him, come on the air on the Culture Call with L, and let's talk about what this wonderful thing that he's planning for the end of the month, High Fashion in Paris. That's right. Yeah, the general seats are $35 and the VIP is $50. You don't want to miss it. Listen, he puts on a show with some of our local models and the regional models will be there. I'm going to be doing a song for my new record there. Yeah, that he twisted my arm, y'all. No, he didn't. No, he asked and I graciously obliged. Yes, definitely. We're going to have a great time there. You do not want to miss that, right? So again, mark your calendars, September 30th. At 6 p.m. That's when the red carpet begins. And you want your picture taken at the red carpet. Absolutely. We want you to be there. It's going to be a blast. You can look it up on Eventbrite. Yeah. A night out in Paris. High Expectations. You can look at it on Eventbrite. For that, you can look at it online. You can download the Eventbrite app. You can find him and find out the other places that he's selling tickets from. It's going to be an amazing time. You do not want to miss that. Listen, again, I want to remind all of you who have your public service announcements and your events, send them to me. Send them to me at culturecall.praise@gmail.com. That's culturecall.praise@gmail.com. We want to make sure that you know exactly what's going on in our neighborhood. Is that good? I know it is. Listen, I want to continue to talk about this whole idea of elevating our minds to community activism and, just reflecting momentarily over the conversation, the conversation that we had with Dr. Mike Daria, who is the Tuscaloosa City Schools superintendent, and all of the work that he's doing in the city and in town. Yeah, I've been to the opening of schools and seeing Dr. Dario do certain things and improvements around all the sides of Tuscaloosa that he has oversight of, and they're doing amazing work. And one of the things that I want to encourage each and every one of us is not to look on the sidelines, to look for something to criticize about, but I want us to be on the front lines and help with the planning, help with the strategy, help with the implementation of the things that he's trying to do and in our cities, right? And so it's important that, we have new principals, we have new assistant principals, new teachers. We're believing for elevated outcomes. And one of the things that we have to do now, here's what we have to do, is make sure that our children, our students are doing their part. That's a part of community as well. What do you mean, El? And why do you say it like that? And I am glad that you asked, quite frankly. As a former school teacher, and y'all hear me say this all the time, is that we're gonna be talking about this a lot this week as well, as we talk about what part do our children play in each of these segments. What parts do our young people play in making sure that we have stronger communities? And I think sometimes we often try to make all of the decisions ourselves as adults because, of course, we've been here longer and, we've got wisdom and, we're parents. We are the parents. You're the child. I get that. I brought you in this world. I'll take you out kind of methodology. I totally understand that. However, they have access to information that we do not have, that our children are brilliant. Our children are amazing. They are technological wizards out from the womb. Absolutely. But here it is. We have to send them with a sense of purpose to our schools. Yeah, we got to send them to us with a sense of purpose so that the teacher and the student create a partnership of advancement for the student. That, in other words, the student can participate in their own outcomes when they are present, when they understand their assignment, right? That the disciplinary problems oftentimes cause teachers not to teach and not to give information at their maximal best because they have to deal with the behavior issues of children. Now, before we get on a tangent on that, I want us to understand that the classroom and how it is set up, it needs to be, innovated, if I can say that. It needs to be, if I can say it, more communal and not so regimented. The way the desks are seated and the way the times and all those things, the interaction, But here it is. The teacher cannot do that with 35, 40 kids in the class, number one. And they also cannot do that when little Johnny or little Mary is coming to school and disrupting the class. And I don't care how much of a comedian that they are at your home, that your child has a responsibility to go to school and make sure that they're doing the best that they can do and being a part of the atmosphere that creates successful outcomes, right? That our children we need to make sure that our children are fed. We need to make sure that they have done their homework, that they're studying. Because here's the deal. There's a situation that's not going on in Alabama. I can't remember the state, but they're taking away free breakfast and free food. And the teachers are screaming, hey, wait a minute. These kids can't learn if they're hungry. That's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They teach us that in educational psychology, that they don't have the basic needs, because that's what the theory is based off. That if you provide the child with basic needs, and here it is, an Xbox is not a basic need. That's a luxury. A PlayStation is not a basic need. That's a luxury. Yeah. But a good breakfast in the morning and good hygiene, that's a basic need. That is a basic need. And you're like, I don't see how that's going to affect. No, it affects the child's learning outcomes. It causes them to be able to, acknowledge their humanity and not, because, school kids can be really cruel sometimes, right? And that causes that child to come to the school with a sense of security. Yeah. With a sense of that somebody, watch this, sent me to school. Let me say that again because I think that's powerful. That someone actually cared enough to send me to school. How did they care enough to send me? Well, they sent me with clean clothes. They sent me, I'm not talking about the top of the line Gucci and Air Jordans and I'm talking about clean. I'm talking about some dish clean clothes. Y'all know what I'm saying. I'm talking about detergent clothes. Y'all know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They sent me with a meal, a breakfast. Yeah. They sent me without my belly not being, groaning, and I got to worry about stomach cramps and stomach aches, and I'm trying to learn algebra. I'm trying to learn literature and English. I'm trying to stay focused on science, but I can't because I'm hungry. Right? So parents, we have that responsibility to make sure that we send our children. Sending suggests that there is a particular mission. That means that before that child gets on that bus or before they leave out of your house to walk, each parent, each house in the community needs to have a purpose talk. Here is why we're sending you to school. I want you to go to school to do what? I want you, yeah. I mean, and it becomes a rehearsal. It becomes something that you automatically know, that they automatically remember. That's what I mean, sending. Sending don't mean to say, all right, don't be late. No, sending is, what's up? What are we called to do today? What are we expecting today? To remind them whose house, because that's one of the things that my father always did. Whose name you have? What's your last name? Please don't embarrass my name in these streets by not doing your work. What work do we require in this household? A's. And what will we tolerate? B's. What will we not tolerate? C's, D's, and F's. I mean, we knew it. Yeah. So you know that coming to my house with this is just not gonna. No. If you need help, what you gonna do? Ask. When you gonna ask? When I need it. Who you gonna ask? My teachers or my peers who know it better than me. And if they don't help you, who you going to talk to? Mama, daddy. Okay. I just want to know, do you understand? That was before we even went to school. That was with the Pop Tarts. That was with the bacon. That conversation was with the eggs. Yeah. Who are you now? Yeah. Right. Don't go out and embarrass my name. Do not do that. Right? See, that's when you send them. They're coming with a particular assignment, and that's not just their spelling homework. That's just not their algebra homework, but they're coming with an assignment that they represent you. They represent your house. They represent the community. They represent something greater than just themselves. Right. So we celebrate everything that they do. We celebrate. That's right. You made an A on this test? That's right. Good job. That's what we're supposed to do. That's my daddy. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're, right. When you say, well, if I get an A+ on my math test, will you give me $5? My daddy says, well, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to make an A? Yes. So why should I pay you for what you're supposed to do? That part. Why should I pay you when you know the standard of my house is this? Absolutely. Now he'll give you a little something and say, hey, that's good. But no, because what other choice do you have? Now, my dad was a little smart aleck, wise guy, one of the wisest men I know. But I mean, he was like, yeah, but what else you thinking about bringing? If it's not an A, what is it? What else is it? What else are you going to bring in this house? You know, what you going to say, a C, D, or F? You going to say what? B, which means that it's the least, that you're going to bring the least of what is acceptable in the house? That's what you're going to do before you even take the test. You've already made up your mind that that's what you're going to do? Right. So you see how that works? We have to send our children to that space, that academic space, that educational space with a sense of purpose. Yes, as a community, that needs to be every house. Right. Now, one of the things you could not do is don't make me leave time from my job hey, and have to come down to that school because you done cut up in that classroom. You do not want me. It'd be so amazing. It'd be so amazing because some of the kids, they get in trouble and they begging the teacher, please spank me here. Please spank me. Please. Do not call my mama. Do not call my daddy. You know, now the kids handing the teacher the phone. Here, 205-546. You know, they're handing the teacher the phone. And then, comma, the parent gets on the phone and telling the teacher off, going off. Oh, come on, y'all. Really? So, you know, that Dr. Julia, I believe her name is Julia Ward, she says, you know, everybody in the school system is afraid of everybody else, you know. The superintendent's scared of the parents, you know. And the teacher's scared of the superintendent, the principal's scared of, you know, or the teacher's scared of the principals, all that kind of stuff. And she says, and the children ain't afraid of nobody. and the children, we've created a system where the lack of respect and the lack of honor is taken away from that community institution that's so very valuable to their future. And it cannot be aided and abetted by parents who are going to always defend. Nope. I grew up in a day, again, it's a different day, y'all. I understand it's a different day. As a parent, I understood it was a different day, right? When my children were coming up. But, you know, my thing is, okay, no issue here. Here's what we're going to do. If you go in that class and do what you're supposed to do, then you will never see me. You will never see me in a position to where I have to be, you know, because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get you where you acted up. I know I'm not the only parent on here, Culture Call, so don't be calling me, telling me all this other kind of stuff. No, I'm not the only parent that if you cut up in class, guess what? There's a high, strong propensity that you just may get dealt with in class. In that same class, right? We've got to begin to develop systems of excellence. We've got to begin to develop systems of care. We've got to be, we've got to be the one that says, hey, don't go out here to this house to go to the school. We're championing youth to have better sports equipment, better band equipment, better lunchroom workers, better food and all that. And you're going to go to school and ruin all of that by your behavior? No, ma'am. No, sir. I will not stick by you when it's like that. No. So get yourself together. Get yourself together so that we can have positive educational outcomes. I wholeheartedly support Dr. Daria and say, come on out, parents. Come on out. Y'all come out to Central tonight. Make sure you have your voices heard as they talk about what's going on with the city school budget. I think it's important. Find out what they're going to spend their money on. But not only that, most importantly, have a conversation with your children and let them know what their part is. What their part is. Now, there's some schools that still believe in corporal punishment. Y'all know corporal punishment was the thing back in the day, where the teacher or the principal could use the what they call the Board of Education on your posterior, on your rear end. Yeah. You know, but not today. That's not today. And so your representation and how we move our children through this system has to change. We have to put that thing on the inside of them. Part of it for us was fear because we didn't want to deal with our parents. And part of us was a sense of accomplishment, driven by competition because we wanted to be the best. Absolutely. That's what it was in our class. We wanted to be the best. I wanted to spell all the words. I wanted to get all of that right. I wanted to get all of the math problems correct. Because I want the sticker at the end of the day. I want this at the end of the year. I want this award. I want salutatory and I want valedictory and I want that. That's what I want. Absolutely. And that was instilled in my house and in my community. The folks at church wanted to know how I was doing in school. They wanted to know. That's exactly right. You doing all right? You paying attention? Make sure you're still you know what you got to do. And it created a community that understood, that took part in what was happening in the life of each and every child. And I think that is important to get activated in the community. Don't just send your child to school with no sense of understanding and without a sense of purpose. We do ourselves a great disservice when we do that. We do ourselves let me say that again, because for the folks in the back, we do ourselves a great disservice in how if we don't send our children to school with purpose. Absolutely. Listen, 205-752-4800, or you can hit me up on the app. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if you're interested in what we're talking about. Listen, we're going to put those dates up as well, just to make sure on the Culture Call page, just to make sure that everybody knows when to be a part of this entire community educational forum that's being sponsored by Dr. Mike Daria in the Tuscaloosa City Schools. I wanted to make sure that we had him on today because guess what? All of the advancements, all of the wonderful opportunities that are going on, the shared partnerships, the dual enrollment that our children now, can get college credit while they're still in high school. You have no idea how important that is to our community, especially when you realize and recognize how expensive college educations are. How expensive and how, they're trying to, cut back on all kinds of things. When you understand that, when you really get that notion of how that works, then you will see that, yes, we need to be encouraging all the children of our community to, get to that place so you can get that college credit. Now, not to say that college is for everyone, but we need to show up to these meetings to find out what they have going on in technology. Are they going to bring shop back? Are they going to bring automotive back, mechanics back? Are they going to bring electricity back? Are they going to bring those things and revive those things? Do they have a bridge to educate children in high school that want to work in a particular trade? Because a lot of our entrepreneurs that come out of our community works in trade. All of them are not just restaurateurs. Yeah. They are plumbers. They are electricians. They are carpenters. They are brick masons. That's right. And a lot of those people learn those skills in school. So we need to ask the question. Yeah. Because we know from the top that some of our children are not interested in going to college. Now, they'll cheer for a college football team, but going through, having 12, 15 hours a semester, they are not interested in. We know that. And if we don't be about asking those right questions, guess what? We're going to miss the funding. We're going to miss the door, and it's going to close on us. But we need to ask those questions. I'm encouraging you, yes, to be a part of asking the right questions. Asking the right questions calls us to get the answers that we need so that we'll know how to strategize for the future. That's right. So we'll know how to strategize. So we'll know how to activate ourselves. We'll know what to show up for and what we need to communicate. We'll know what to donate for and what to give our funding to. And it's not just pencils and papers and paper clips and all of those different kinds of things that we send all this stuff to school for. And then we send all that and our children don't have positive outcomes in the educational system. Then I just went to Dollar General and bought all those stuff, Family Dollar, bought all that stuff for nothing because obviously my child didn't have no pencil. Couldn't have been. Absolutely. So definitely we need to make sure that we do our part as a community. Ask the right questions. Make sure that we show up. Make sure that we are in the place to be. Make sure that we meet Dr. Daria and his team. Make sure that we ask the right questions. Make sure that we help provide solutions that work best for our community. That is our responsibility. Yes, that is our responsibility. And I am here to remind you, I'll be reminding you every day as we talk, as we speak, as we encourage each other to be community activated. What is your part in building a strong community? I'm going to ask it again. What is your part in building a strong community? I told you this week we're going to drop some bombs. We're going to come and bring some folks on that's doing amazing things right here in our city that we need to be a part of. That's right. We can't sleep on them. Listen, this is the Culture Calls with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on Praise 93.3. Right here. Keep it here. Don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back right here on the Culture Call, right here with L. Spencer Smith on Praise 93.3 FM. My goodness, it has been a wonderful day. And having a conversation about, starting it off, actually, about community activation. What are we doing to be active in our community? And just kind of encouraging you that, yes, this is the moment. There's something, I don't know if y'all can sense it. I do. That there's something brewing in our city. There's something about to happen. There's something occurring. There's something underneath the heat and the construction of the pavement and the roads are being done. There's a growth. There is an advancement that's coming to our city. And oftentimes, when advancement happens, we're not paying attention. And then after it happens, it sometimes marginalizes us out of the equation, of the wealth, of the traffic, of the technology, of the advancement. And and then we're sitting on the side looking at the life of our city pass us by. Why? Because we're not activated so much in community. I tell you this often because I don't want you to miss the reality of what I'm saying. Is that if you want to know if anything is going on in our city, watch the roads. Watch where they are constructing the roads. Pay close attention to the growth and where they're strategically placing roads all over on every side of town. Skyland, McFarland. Yeah. Even if you're listening to me from somewhere else in the country, New York, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Texas, doesn't matter where you are. You want to know where growth is getting ready to happen? Look at the infrastructure that they are building. And when you look at Tuscaloosa, you might say, oh, man, I wish they hurry and finish with these roads. But I want you to heighten your awareness from a community perspective. What's getting ready to come? Why are they widening the roads? Why are they adding more lanes? Why is a road going through this? This place at this moment, at this time. Why do they want traffic, or what are they diverting traffic from? See, I think it's important. All of those are signs and signals that growth is about to happen. Signs and signals that something new is on the horizon. My job is to make sure that you do not miss it. That we are very well aware of what is happening in our community. Why now? That's our question. That's what you got to keep asking. Wonder what they're bringing that for. Yeah. Just look at it. Go driving today. Matter of fact, when you get off work, go driving. I know the traffic was horrendous here for the last Bama game. Yeah, horrendous. Not just because of the influx of people, but because of the construction on the highway. And what you have to do and what I have to do is begin to ask why. On my side of town, they're doing some crazy things. I'm like, well, why are they doing that? Every time I pass it, every morning on my way to the radio station, I ask, what's going on over there? When I ride down the city, when I ride down McFarland, what are they getting ready? What are they doing? Why are they making more room? You have to understand that change, my brother, my sister, is a happening, and it ain't going to stop. So since that is the case, then I need to figure out, where does my community lie in all of that? What's happening on the west side? What's growing over there? What's happening on the east side, the north side, the south side? What are they doing? What are they planning to come? Who are they planning to bring? I remember when they were building the amphitheater, and some people had complaints. Why we need an amphitheater? Well, because they're trying to create avenues and venues to bring in big names, right? They're trying to increase the traffic. And that's going to disrupt some of the simplistic ways of city travel, of Tuscaloosa travel. So you got to know that when you see all of these orange signs and cones up, you got to know something is on its way. And instead of complaining about it, instead of saying, man, I wish it would go back, it ain't going back. It's not going back, Coach Carl. I promise you it's not. It's not. And so that's not the best question. The best question is, how can we make sure that our community is not left out of the growth? I hope you're hearing me. How can we make sure that our community is not left out of the funding, is not left out of the traffic? How can we begin to create businesses and open up things that would that would generate funding and revenue? What can we do to be a part of Tuscaloosa's future? What can we do to be a part of Atlanta's future, of DC's future? We see the growth. It's now moving from city center, and it's also now going out down up in 2059 on both sides. It's spreading down the south side, down going toward Moundville. It's spreading down toward going to a Reform and Gordo. It's spreading. Growth is spreading. It is. And if you're sitting there and saying, hey, well, okay, well, I don't, yeah, times are changing. But we don't have to, as a community, just let times change, and we don't have a vital say in how it is changing. That's important. That is important. And so, hey, yes, we've got to go to these meetings. Let me say it again with a megaphone. We have to go to the meetings. We do. Yeah. We've got to allow our voices to be heard. We've got to begin to also, not begin, but to continue to hold our elected officials, not electric, sir, elected officials accountable. Yeah. To inform us of what is happening in our communities. All of the districts have a particular council person. And yes, they have the responsibility of letting you and I know what's going on. That's the Marvin Gaye sound. What's going on? That's right. I need to know what's going on. They're building a new school. They are. They're bringing a new bank here. They are in our community. Really? I wonder what's happening. That's a good question. That is a vital question. I wonder what is going on. Because to be community activated means that I've got to get out of my house. I've got to get out of my comfort zone, and I've got to begin to volunteer. I've got to begin to become vocal. I've got to become visual to community events, to community activities. Yeah, Absolutely. I was on the road this past weekend. You know, September, I normally take a sabbatical away from the church, and I try to travel and go. And I was in, first of all, I was in Vegas, and then I went to Baltimore to kind of just see and I paid attention to all of the infrastructure. And every time I go there, I watch what they've built. I watch the highways. I watch it. And then I was like, man, I can't wait to get home. I can't wait to get back to Tuscaloosa because I want to see what's going on in our communities. I want to see how they're expanding. I want to know what's taking so long to regrow this side of town. And this side of town, the other side of town seems to be going a little bit faster. What's going on there? Yeah, I want to know as a part of the community. I want to know. Because guess what? I need to know where I can plug in. I need to know where to lend my voice. I need to know where I can begin to say, hey, I want to be a part of this. We want to be a part of this. We want to plug into this. Absolutely. I want to go to my neighborhood schools. And as a matter of fact, we went to our neighborhood schools and wanted to partner with them. Partner with certain people to say, hey, listen, my church, we have plenty of people go to the school. Plenty of kids go. We got teachers in our church that go to this school. Our church wants to partner with your schools. Not just one, but the schools that are affected in our area. We want to be that kind of community active. And I want to be the face of that. And you have that responsibility as well. To say to each and every one of them, yeah, we need to be a part of this. I want to be a part. It means that we begin to set up community projects and initiatives, and we begin to create partnerships. And we begin to collaborate. And we begin to say, hey, yeah, we represent this community. We represent this area. And we want to partner with this. We want to partner with sickle cell. You know, we want to partner with this particular entity. We want to partner with the links. We want to partner so that we can have better outcomes for our communities. That we can have better. See, and that is a way, connection is a way to begin to create communications on levels that you did not have before. Let me say that again. That connections are the ways that we create communications on levels that we did not know before. Because conversations are being had. Y'all listen to me, Culture Call. Conversations are being had all of the time. The issue is, are we sitting at the table when those conversations are being had? Which means that as a community, we've got to be proactive in addressing certain things, certain issues. And we got to begin to build relationships and cohorts. And we've got to begin to make sure that everybody is informed. Everybody is informed. A community newsletter. You can do it by paper or you can do it electronically. Have everybody in your community just to sign up to what's happening in our community. And create forums to allow city people, your district councilman to come in or Dr. Daria or whatever health issue, insurance. And so we can meet at a community center and say, hey, this is the concerns of our community. That we've had 5 people to die in our community that did not have insurance. That is unacceptable. What can we do to create an awareness, number one, of the need of insurance, number two, how we can get everyone plugged in at a rate that they can afford to have prime life insurance? That we don't have to be baking cookies and cakes and frying chicken just to put somebody in the ground. No, we have to all of that. See, again, it's not difficult, but you've got to be activated to do that. That's right. It's the recognition. Hear me now. It is the recognition of collective action and collective power, collective agency. That's right. It is bringing all of our resources together and saying, hey, this is what we want to see happen. We want to create this in our community. And here is what we need from you. That's right. A lot of our city officials want that kind of demand placed on them. Yeah, they want to hear from us. And so today on the Culture Call, I want to make sure that I start getting your mind set so that we can become community activated. That's right. That we become not just a few people, not just a select few that might sit on the board over here or sit on the board. No, but as a collective community, we come together and say, here are our needs, and here is what we're willing to do. Let me say that again. And here is what we are willing to do as a community to support this. Yes, that's important, sir. That's important, ma'am. And you better not forget it. Because when we come together as a collective force, then the powers that be begin to lift up their heads and address our concerns. Absolutely. You need to know that when you begin to move in that direction, people pay attention. Listen, I see the runway. We're about to land this plane on another edition of the Culture Call right here on Praise 93.3. But I need you to keep it here. Yeah, don't miss the benediction. Absolutely. I don't want you to miss it. We've got some important things to say to you. Just keep it right here.
This is the world premiere.
It has been a wonderful day, family, right here on the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith. And I'm telling you, we're just getting started this week, September 11th. That's right. This day will live in infamy for a lot of us in this country. And as this day also symbolizes the day that the bombing in the Birmingham 16th Street Church, Birmingham bombings there. And with September 11th, know this, the tragedy that happens, that we as a community have always survived tragedy when we've come together. That's right. We have always survived when we've come together. And so this week, I really want us to tune in. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, lock it in 10 to 12 right here on the Culture Call, because we're going to be bringing in and discussing this whole understanding of what it means to be active in our community. That we have to assign and connect with each other, not to be late, last, or lost. You know, we asked the question, not necessarily asked the question, but really gave a verbiage to an old saying that's important in our community. And then we put a query on the end of that yes, it does take a village to raise a child. But not just to raise a child. It takes a village to empower a community. It takes a village to look out for one another. It takes a village to advance our causes. And my question, the query at the end of that was, are you an active part of that community? Or you're just someone that's standing by looking and saying, hey, I don't know what I got. I don't know if I'm a part. I mean, I mind my own business. Okay, good, great. Yeah, all right, whatever. Because here is the reality. We need you as an active part of the community. We need you, your voice, your vision, your visuality. We need all of that to be a part of this great community. And without that, we can't go any further than we've already been. I mean, that means we just take what we have right now and cruise into the sunset. But who really wants to do that? No. Times are changing, and it requires us to make sure that as the times change, that we have something to say about it. That we bring all of our skill and our expertise, our genius and our presence, just to let people know that, yes, this community is represented by people who are wholly invested in its moving forward, wholly invested in its assignment, wholly invested in achieving everything that it was set out to achieve. That's what we are, and that's what we're going to be talking about this entire week. But listen, my time is up on this Monday, September 11th. That's right. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to tell everybody about the Culture Call. I need you to go out and be kind to someone. That's right. Be kind to them. Love on them. Let them know that they're important. And as my grandmama and my mama used to say at the end of every phone call, I love you a bushel. I love you a peck. And I love you a hug around the neck. Until tomorrow morning, this is the Culture Call with L. Spencer Smith right here on Praise 93.3 FM. Keep it right here for some more great gospel music. Have a good one.